Tammy, how are you doing in this glorious sunshine?
I am channeling my inner yellow, my spring colour, and
Love
I have
it.
to say I'm in, yeah, just a really kind of like great mood after a long weekend.
It has been a long weekend. I'm going to got a question about that yellow in just a second. Hayley, how are you doing on this Thursday evening?
I'm really good, thank you. Had a lovely Easter, and looking forward to next week.
Did either of you overindulge over the weekend?
I did, but not in chocolate. Can I say that?
Well, it depends what it is.
Fair point. But yeah, true. I'll jump in quick. Just with wine. Can I say that?
Wine.
Wine.
Lovely, lovely. Of course, drink responsibly for you at home here.
Yes.
Hayley, were you shaking your head then? Were you not an overindulger over the weekend?
Not as bad as I used to be. I mean, we used to have like 20 odd Easter eggs, and we only had a few. So I've had my little chocolate, but not like I used to.
You've had your chocolate fix. I love that. And then, Tammy, I was going to come back to you. You said you're embracing the yellow.
Yeah.
Are you one of these people that because some people out there believe that the colors can mean things and attract things and send things away? Is the yellow for a purpose?
No. I just saw it. I just thought I was in a joyful mood, so I just thought yellow. Yeah, relaxation. I think it also kind of gives that feeling too.
Nice. It's that time of the calendar month here on Purist Radio where we want you to actively get involved with this show also. You'll see if you're watching us over on social media, hello, that we've got Healthy Minds, and it says play and curiosity. And we're going to be joined by a guest later on. Hayley, give us a very quick introduction to who we're going to have on in the next 15, 20 minutes or so.
So we've got Jon joining us, and he is going to share a little bit about laughter yoga and the rest of the well-being work that he does.
Laughter, yoga, and well-being work. That sounds great to me. Before we jump into chatting with Jon, though, we're going to be looking at the importance of play and hobbies for adult mental health, reconnecting with interests, and the power of curiosity. I love this as an idea, particularly as someone who, I know it's not outdoor activities, but I've been picking up my game console pad again. And being a big kid, playing a Star Wars game, which has been making me very happy recently. So that's kind of my little return and my homework, as it were, for this show this evening. Hayley, give us an overview as to things that you've been dipping your toe back into.
Well, I did not like Uno, but I've discovered a little competitive streak I have, and we are playing it in between meals as the meal is being delivered to the table. If we sit down at the table, which is quite often, but we are playing it left, right, and centre all the time, and it's so much fun.
I love Uno so much. Have you got any of the like additional packs, like the Uno Extreme and Uno Flip, or is it old school Uno?
Well, I've got the old school one, but my daughter's just introduced us to, there's a Liars one, and there's another one we've looked at, so we need to get them to play, but we like our own rules. We have our own rules in Handy.
Amazing. It is the holiday go-to in our family, and now you can get waterproof ones so you can play them poolside if you're lucky enough to be getting away in the sunshine. Yeah. Tammy, what have you been getting up to rekindle that play and curiosity?
For me, it's been about just being outside, so it's been like lots of ball games. So again, swing ball with the children. I have been bringing out my inner competitive child, which isn't really healthy, adult versus child, or adult versus children. But again, it's just that football, that cricket. But going back to what Hayley said, Uno, love Uno. It's a real kind of like holiday game as well. And we've also introduced Uno No Mercy, which again just takes that competitive level. It just takes it goes off the radar, off the scale. But plays not just for children. It's so much more, and it's great that Hayley's doing Uno and that you're doing your gaming console again, Tom.
Yeah, we would love to know, what is it that's keeping your curiosity active? How are you still playing? How are you staying as a child, as it were, in a grown-up body? Because Hayley, I think that's important.
I really do. And I find it really sad that children now don't want to play with toys past about 6, 7 or 8. I can remember like playing Kirby outside the house at like 13, 14, playing Fox and the Hounds and all those kinds of games, but children don't tend to play those things now, and they actually are snubbing toys in order to play games online, and I'm not sure it has the same impact.
We would love your thoughts on this as we talk through this topic. We are live on social media, so you'll find us over on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're live, so you can leave us a comment. Comments, of course, are not confidential. They're public for everyone to see, and they'll end up on screen even. You can WhatsApp us 01437 76 4455, and we can treat those in confidence if you so wish us to do so. Or you can use the Pure West Radio app, where you can press the button that says send a message to studio, and we'll get them all here. There's also the Facebook Messenger. So if you don't want to comment on the video, you can send us a private message, and that then also keeps your confidentiality. Tammy, Hayley giving some great examples there of being outdoors, playing chase, running around, skimming your knees, running through bushes. Just being with your friends in a friendly manner. What are your memories, Tammy, of being outdoors, and to what age did you become too cool, if you ever did?
I've just got those vivid memories, and this will just kind of like just really highlight my age of just like, like the 6-foot slides, just the metal slides that would just get so hot in the sun. And there was no kind of like health and safety. It was kind of like you just went and played. And it just really just developed, I don't know, that survival, I suppose. And I can't really pinpoint a time, all jokes aside, when I actually stopped. I just think somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that play was perhaps unproductive, just something that we just didn't need to do anymore. And it's kind of just become more ingrained in us, I think. And as Hayley has said, children, really young children now, are kind of opting out of it for technology, for want of a better description.
Yeah. Well, hot off the press actually is the fact that they've announced a new Toy Story film, haven't they? And the whole premise is on the tablets taking over. And so we're not going to be playing physically with our bodies. And Hayley, that's where you were getting to when you were saying is that kids are foregoing actually physically holding a football or a rugby ball or a tennis ball, just playing catch in the garden. It's not a thing anymore because you could just play Roblox on your phone and just keep it here nice and comfy on the couch. What do you think is the detriment to that?
I think it has a massive impact on mental health. I think that they're losing that ability to connect with children on a level that we learn to connect with children out on the street, falling out, making friends again, all those kind of skills that come with playing with your friends face to face in a real situation. Well, they are losing the ability to communicate, to have eye contact, to face conflict.
That's a very good point, because the primary school that I was brought up in, so when we're talking about this, I'm very much vividly in Broadhaven, where they had the old park, not the new one that looks really nice, the one that was the massive slide and the roundabout and the things that you're not really allowed in parks anymore, and the swings at the top of the hill, is that you did fall out with your friends. But in a primary school of no more than, less than 20 in a class at a time, if you had a falling out, the playground was only so big. You had to renegotiate and find how to work along together, because you were going to end up in a group with them at some point again. Tammy, do you think that these interpersonal skills, these body language skills, these negotiation skills, are they being lost because we're not playing and being curious anymore?
I think they are. That kind of like physical interaction, it also builds our emotional resilience. It boosts our, creativity. The life skills that we don't notice at the time, but they do transfer to adulthood. And also thrown to the mixture, when we're playing, it's helping to reduce stress. We're working through our problems, even, from a really young age. We're finding solutions. We're not kind of like focusing on it. And I do think we are, I don't know, we're almost in kind of like a trouble, I suppose, in terms of just forgetting the importance of play. And then, just bring it forward to adults, not giving ourselves permission to play anymore. I just think we need to step away from technology and just reconnect with what we did when we were younger.
Yeah, because being a child of the late 90s and the noughties, I feel like I had the best of both worlds. I was very lucky because the games you played, they weren't on tablets, they were plugged into the TV. So you only played for as long as you were allowed to play, for one. And then it was a case of, you got to do that, you got to do that. But also, not everyone had a console. Everyone seems to have a screen now. Whereas back then, I was one of the fortunate ones. I had a games console, so I could play Jet Set Radio and have a lovely time. But if I wanted to play with my friends, this online world didn't exist. So I had to go down to, this sounds awful. I had to go down to the beach and play with my friends. Because we're brought up in West Wales. You're never too far away from the beach. And I feel really fortunate that I had the two things come together. So I could feel the sand and the seawater in my toes. I could go surfing. And then equally, I could play Cluedo with my family around the dining room table. And then if I wanted to, I could go out and play football. I was raised with brothers and sisters, so I could do that. What about those families now that might not have those options? I'm thinking now, if you're on a shoestring, traveling to Newgale on a weekend, factoring in picnic, petrol, everything else like a beach trip needs, it's actually quite a lot of pressure. Or are we putting too much pressure on ourselves to have the picture perfect playtime, Hayley?
I think when we're talking about financial, it doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to add costs to your life. I raised the kids on no money at all. I mean, if you ask them, we did one thing a year that we paid a lot of money for, and the rest of it was cheap or free. Like, we would go out, maybe just a picnic, or we'd go for a walk. And I'm a bit of a singer, so I make songs up. So I used to do like bingo, nature bingo and things like that. So you're talking about things you've made at home. But we would only buy ice cream from the likes of Farm Foods because you get 4 for £1. Yeah. So they were still doing all the things like climbing trees. And those are the kinds of things children are not able to do now. I went to a parkour session. It's got to be about 7 or 8 years ago, no, be longer than that maybe. And the instructor had to teach this young girl who was 7 or 8 to climb. She didn't actually have the ability or the knowledge or the understanding about the dynamics and mechanics of climbing.
Oh gosh. So like the using of the arms and the lifting the knees up and just that whole thing of I'm using all of my body to do this.
Could not do it. And the parkour instructor was showing her how to climb on a window, so we were indoors. And I just said to him, like, what are you doing? He said, she can't climb. She's never been allowed to climb, and you lose the ability, you lose innate abilities when you don't practice them.
Is that part of the problem in this day and age where surveillance is like priority number one? Like when arguably we were let out to play, it was a case of be back before dark. And we were getting into scrapes. We were coming back with holes in our shorts. We were coming back with cuts and bruises. Oh, where have you been? Oh, I was just with Ben. And it kind of didn't. Yeah, well, fair enough. You're home now. That's kind of what matters. Tammy, how can we release the children like without fear, particularly in light of local reports from the weekend? Is it? That's a tough balance, isn't it?
It's a really tough balance, and I haven't got the answers. I haven't got the solutions there, but I do think that doing things together, going outside, going for that walk, like Hayley said, even if that's not the case, and you can't go outside, or you can still be creative by writing songs, dancing. Writing stories, you don't have to be physically going out to explore or just making that long trip to a park, for example, or a beach. You can be doing things at home as well. just stopping for a moment. And I know we've spoken about it, so many times about just, having that screen time, that detox digitally. And just interacting again with siblings, interacting with grandparents, neighbours, friends, parents. It's just that making those incremental changes to get to where you want to eventually.
Yeah, and allowing yourself to kind of sit still and let the creative juices flow again. And Hayley, bringing us back to like the main point that we raised, we're talking about play in adulthood, where typically speaking in this connected day and age, we're looking at the kids on their tablets and they're constantly connected and not using their bodies. I'm constantly connected. I work in a media organization. I'm on call this week. My phone does not stop. So how can we find elements of this play, of this curiosity as a grown-up?
Well, as simple as painting PVA glue on your hands. Leave it dry and then peel it off. Do you know, we make play really complicated, and it really doesn't have to be. We went years ago, we bought McDonald's, and they had a Connect 4, plastic Connect 4. I don't know if you've seen this. If anybody's got one, I would like to take it off your hands. I think we managed to get 2 sets of it. It has been our holiday staple for it's got to be 8 to 10 years. We take it every year, and we'll sit by the pool and just do this Connect 4. We'll all play with Connect 4 against one another. We play cards. So quite simple little things. And this is the thing, it doesn't have to be complicated. I play solitaire on my own with the cards if the kids are not around. So you can make play as simple or as complex as you want, but the more simple it is, the more likely you are to do it.
That's true. You want to get rid of all these barriers, don't we? And as an addition to that, of course, there's different therapies that are available out there. Play therapy is such a thing, isn't it? Because it can help us explore those things about us even more, Tammy.
Yeah, absolutely. And as adults, when did we stop giving ourselves permission to play? And the oxymoron to that is that there are playful adults still out there. We do exist. And I include myself in that. That does, that does want to like jump on the trampoline, or just to throw water bombs, or just. It's all about embracing the inner child. I think we forget that. I think we stop listening to the inner child. We grow up, and I really do think we just need to go back to looking inside to who we were, and encourage it again. The therapy is brilliant. Play therapy.
What I'm grateful for is that at the end of last year, I became a dad for the first time, and I'm looking forward to being silly for the next 15 plus. I'm silly anyway, but like properly silly with a young person that's seeing the world for the first time. And it's one of the things that I'm not so secretly overjoyed about, that I get to be a proper child with a child. So I'm really excited about that. And then to wrap this bit up then, Hayley, and if you're listening, we'd love your thoughts on this. 01437 764455 on the WhatsApp, on the Pure West Radio app. You can send message to studio, email studio@purewestradio.com, or drop us a message on the messenger. The benefits that we're going to get then if we, once we give our permission to go back to play, what benefits do you think we could find as an old fogey, I was going to refer to us as?
Speak for yourself, you. I do think it's mindfulness. Like if you look at a child who is given a toy, or even a toddler looking at an ant, it would be completely engrossed in looking at how many legs they have, how many bodies there are, and all this stuff. We've stopped doing that. So in order to play with something, even if we were playing with it while the phone was on, okay, so I have a ball I have loads of these, and I will just hold it and play with it and just feel the sensation of that on my hands. It's as simple as that. And I think if we can get into that mindset of enjoying the sensation, enjoying all our senses, we have that taking us out of everyday life and being in the moment.
I love
So,
that.
just really quickly, it's really interesting you have that ball, Hilly, because even as adults, I notice in my work, adults will be using fidget pens or fidget toys. And the more I think about and reflect on it, the more I notice it. And I just also then come back to that, that point about curiosity. It is so powerful for the mind, and it's about shifting us away from, just fear and judgment and just, into exploration, which is, again, what we did many, many years ago.
There you go. We would love to continue talking about this further. However, we've got Jon waiting in the wings for us. Give us that reminder then, Hayley. It was a long time ago since we opened this section. Give me an overview as to why Jon's going to be joining us in the next couple of minutes.
So he's going to be sharing more about laughter yoga. There may be a demo, I don't know. So join us for that, and sharing about his well-being work that he does as well.
There we go. That's coming up next here on your Healthy Minds Better Life show for a Thursday evening. It's not long gone 8:30. Jon is joining us next here on the show on Pure West Radio.